Hello, everybody. Welcome to Oracle Chats. I'm Erin Lee of Heavenly Messenger, and with me, as always, is my beautiful friend Bobbi Rowntree, born medium, and we are bringing today, Oracle Chats, universal connections. So we've got a whole pile of things that we've been talking about with you. Pardon me, on our shows, excuse me, on our shows together, we take your questions about like mediumship and spirit and angels, and we've got a couple of questions that came up from last week that we're going to talk about, but we're not doing readings. So please, Bobbi is going to get to her reading show, I think.
Yes, I'm getting I am. I really am. I am. I just, people keep dying.
Yeah. So as soon as people calm down on the dying,
on their 10 cent in my life, then I will be able to get my poop in a group. And all of you who know me know that I try to get my poop in a group with a sifter. So little pieces of poop. I think the visual was there. I don't know if I need to expand it. So, I'm going to, I promise. Yeah. Awesome. We're going to get Mondays, but it might end up as a Saturday thing. So you click in with me before you go out on your whatever it is that people do on Saturday nights.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I am just going to, there we go. I'm just going to put this guy up because I see that we're already starting to get some reading questions, and we're so grateful that you've joined us to ask reading questions, but we're not doing reading questions today. Bobbi, at some point in the future, we're not saying when, because it'll be a surprise.
It'll be, yes, hopefully it'll be before August. I'll get my poop in that group.
Yeah. And I am planning to get back to my Tuesday night show. I've figured out what's happening with my cough. So as long as I'm resting, we should be back to the question show on Tuesday night. So awesome.
Exciting. Okay.
Excellent. So
are you going to say hello to everyone?
Yeah. Did you want to do it?
No, you're better at it than I am, but I will if you don't want the responsibility.
I'm happy to share responsibility with you.
Okay.
Okay, you start. I'll join in.
Okay, I gotta get to the top. Okay. Hello, Carrie. Yes, and we were talking about her. Hello, everyone. Hello, Verna. Hello, Jenna. All good things, Carrie, just so you know. Hello, Jessica. Hello, Jerry. Hello, Summer.
Hi.
My screen is very dark, so hopefully I'm getting everybody because my screen is dark. Oh, I just zippity doo dot. Hello, Sylvia. Hello, Amanda. Hello, Carrie. Hello, Ruth. Hello, Amanda.
Yeah, and we've got questions from Jenna. Awesome. And I think that we skipped over somebody. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce your name, but I think it's Sabrant.
So,
okay. Do you know?
Oh, that's Sylvia.
Oh, okay. All right. Great. Hello, everybody. And yes, Carrie said divine timing. Remember my subject? Yeah, actually, I have it written down here on my piece of paper. I'm like, we can't possibly forget about Carrie's question.
How did you know you were writing it down? Because she wrote that as you were writing it down. How did she know about that?
It must be psychic too.
Must be. Must be what is. Okay.
Absolutely.
Right, do your thing that you were going to show everyone.
Okay, I'll be quick with this and then we'll jump in. So last week we ended up having kind of two shows. I did the show and then Bobbi found me and she joined in, and for about 45 minutes we had this awesome time before my battery died, and the two of us connected together. It was so much fun. And we were talking afterwards about people who, after they've crossed over and they've been gone for a while, sometimes they don't come through as often or as much. And I was saying, yeah, my grandmother used to come in a lot for me. I was really close to her when she was here, but I don't find she comes through as often. And I kind of felt, not only she's been gone about 25 years, and I'm not needing her in the same way anymore. But then I found this video. I'm going to show you this video.
Okay. Freaking dog. So does this dog remind you of your grandmother?
So, Bobbi, it's almost like you let the cat right out of the bag.
Oh, I'm sorry. The dog out of the basket.
Right? So my childhood dog, her name was Popcorn. I think she looks like every cute little dog. She was a tiny little Maltipoo. She was white. And when I see this dog, it reminds me so much of her because we used to talk about how Popcorn would go on adventures. She was like an aviator. I've come to learn that these are called doggles. And you know, like an aviator cap. And so I see this video. I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't know how many times I've watched it, but it reminds me so much of Popcorn. And then as I was watching it, and particularly towards the end, as the dog has his arm up and he's kind of looking around, I'm like, that's my grandmother's hairdo. And it's the same color. and Popcorn had this really cute sweater. Popcorn was all white, and my grandmother knit her this beautiful emerald green sweater. And the picture that I have of her is in this little sweater that my grandmother had knit for her. So it's funny how she came through a Popcorn message that she was still very much around, and of course came through with some humor as well.
And I was also, who the heck do you think is taking Popcorn on her adventures now?
Right?
Popcorn boy?
Popcorn was a girl.
Okay, good. I got that one right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think you said Popcorn needs someone to take care of them. So I'm still around, Erin.
Yeah.
So you're poked in the head.
Don't think you can get rid of me that quickly.
Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah.
So yes, that was my Popcorn with her doggles.
I like that a lot.
Awesome. And now you had also mentioned that you wanted to talk, you had a topic to share with everybody today. Did you want to jump into that one?
Well, we could go into Carrie's and then go into the thing because because the topic I wanted to talk about is becoming more and more prevalent as we sit here.
I love it. So as I read Carrie's question out to you, I'm reminded of a talk that I heard with Deepak Chopra, and he said he would prepare for all of his talks and all of his presentations by reading his books. And he said, you know, I write at a very high level, so I'm already in that place. So when I come out on stage and we're already talking at a pretty high level. And I feel that that's kind of where Carrie's question is. So Carrie's question last week, she wanted to talk about how aspects of the soul are here and on other dimensions at the same time.
Yeah, and that's one of those blow my mind sort of situations.
Right.
Like when it first opened up, that nearly blew my mind up right there. Vastness of it.
Yeah.
But space time continuum.
Absolutely.
Like when Ward got caught in the wrong space-time continuum and he kept going on to the Enterprise in different realities.
I love that Star Trek just became part of our conversation today. Yes. Absolutely. And I think it's really important to take a moment to just realize how big and vast this topic actually is, because the idea of multiple timelines and multiple dimensions and stuff is actually really hard for our brains to comprehend, because there's so much, like, time as a linear thing. Time is something that humans created in order to quantify and to understand what's happening around us. So the idea that we're running in multiple dimensions and time frames is really kind of interesting.
And it's frustrating for myself because I honestly think that's the what if. What if I just turned left when I turned right? Then I would be left, not right. And you do that what if, and it's a horrible thing to do to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you start going down roads that you could have been down, and then you second guess every decision you're going to make in the future after that. So that's why
Absolutely.
I don't, but that's such a quantum physicsy sort of thing. It's a
Yep.
higher thinking sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I have trouble with it. So does
Mm-hmm.
that mean
Yep.
that in a different reality, there is a whole different Bobbi who's talking to a whole different set of spirits?
There absolutely could be. There could be a reality where Bobbi has a corporate job, right?
Yeah,
And
we're in that reality.
I think part of what becomes challenging for us is because our experience is so finite in so many ways. Like the idea that instead of turning left as we did in this reality, say we chose to turn right, that actually can create a whole new reality. And if you're doing that and I'm doing that and everybody in the world is doing that, we have a population of 7 billion people, like how many realities has that then created? Right? And we go into like the practicality of how does that even function? How do we have enough stuff? Because we have that very finite and limited understanding, and our experiences are limited and finite, right?
Yeah. But you see, see, and because the soul is the constant.
Right.
But then the soul split off and go with, okay, because
Uh-huh.
my first thing into my mind was, is there a reality where I actually became an actor? Because that's
Right.
what I wanted when I grew up.
So so
Okay.
so let me introduce this idea in this way. What
Okay.
if the soul is the tree and all of the roots are the different realities? Because you're saying like what if is the soul like splitting off, but
My
what I'm
goodness.
saying is what if all of those realities that your soul is present in is still part of the soul and it's just being fed in a different way? Like if you think about the root, each of those roots that goes out, that breaks off, is pulling in nutrient, is pulling in water and good stuff that sustains the life of the tree.
From
So
very, very different places too, depending on the size of the tree. Hmm.
absolutely. So that in actuality, like the breaking off of all of the breaking off of the soul is actually the soul's way of expanding and learning and growing within the time and space that it's in.
Okie dokie. So each life is part of the root system that goes into the tree trunk that is the soul. And then each time it can branch off into different realities and things based on that root that is also part of the soul. But how does that help us now?
I think the fact that we are
I know.
continuing to have other experiences, right?
Well,
Like, go ahead.
and this might not be the end all be all. The reality that you're seeing right now, people get
Mhm.
all bogged down and about their lives. Well, maybe there's like an alternate reality. Maybe this is just a little thing, and you can actually undo this quite easily because
Absolutely.
down to one little choice you made. Do they
That
intersect?
Absolutely, because of course they could intersect with somebody else's reality. Like there could be
Oh,
realities that are not that far off and not that far away. But in some of the energy healing that I practice, we go through different realities and we find a reality. So say for example, in this current reality, I have a broken foot. There's another reality where I don't have a broken foot, and all of the other circumstances are very the same or similar. Flip into that reality and bring in some of that energy, and boom, the healing helps to happen faster.
and might actually the one reality where you have the broken foot and the other reality where you actually do not have a broken foot but you have something else going on, might the lesson be the same? It's just that this Erin needs to break a foot and this Erin needs to see it in a sign down the street. Does that make
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
there's another Bobbi
absolutely.
that isn't getting physical pain as messaging?
Yeah.
I her. I couldn't have
But
said
she
that.
probably loves you.
But yeah, because she doesn't feel this. Yeah. Because that's
But
Mhm.
but, I think one of the things that's also important to recognize is, first of all, that the soul lessons that this soul is going through are going to be, that's going to be the same, right? Like if you came into this world to learn forgiveness, or to learn pain, or to learn something else, that's still going to be the mandate for all
Mhm.
aspects of the soul living in this experience, right?
Yeah.
And so if, for example, let's say Bobbi's lesson was to learn to slow down and take care of herself.
Yeah.
We could say that maybe that's one of the things that Bobbi's working on. And so in this reality, in this experience, in this trajectory, maybe some of the experiences that you're having are X, Y, and Z. But in another trajectory, maybe it's A, B, and C. And so your soul still gets to benefit from all of that. So
Doing it different ways.
yeah. And you know, one of the things I've been getting a lot recently is, in readings, people have been asking me, which path and which direction do I go? And I'm not actually seeing that there's one definite path, because either one that they take is going to take them to the same place. So which one do you want to do first, or how do you want to do it? It doesn't make any actual difference, because you're going to end up at the same place anyway. So what do you want to do?
Yeah,
And
it's spouses will have the same sort of situation.
yeah,
Yeah, where they're
absolutely.
both supposed to be taking some sort of spiritual path. They'll meet in the end. They just
Mhm.
have to tolerate the fact that they're on a different spiritual path while they're doing it.
Yeah, at the moment.
At
So
this moment, yes.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Hang on. Oh, goodness
So
gracious.
Karen, please let us know, because we know that you're on today, and this is a question from last week. Let us know, have we talked about what you were asking about? And if we haven't, let us know, and we will see what comes up. So
Yes. Okie dokie.
awesome. So before we take a look at the other questions that were coming through, did you want to bring in your topic, or do we want to float? Where do you want to go?
Uh,
I'm just going to put you on the spot for a moment, Bobbi.
bring in my topic because I think
Mhm.
that it is the more I don't bring it in, the more it
Mm.
is becoming something I feel that I need to hide.
Right. Okay. Well,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, let's give Bobbi a round of applause as we woo! I've got a bit of an audience in the
I
background today.
heard that. You're in stereo.
And we're gonna help you bring light to this, so that there isn't any fear about bringing it forward. So
Oh, I like that. Yes, and I don't. I
mhm.
don't know. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I have trouble seeming vulnerable in front of other people
Mhm.
because there's something in my head that thinks I have to have all my poop in a group all the time, and I always have to be for everybody. So I do have trouble being weak. Is the word I'm getting. That's why I was having trouble. Like, I want a different word than weak, but maybe I'm thinking of it as weak, or I feel a little bit weaker because and
Mhm.
just wiggling was a bit thing for me.
Yep.
I'm in pain. I have with there has been like I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know if it is the fact that I actually took time off from my readings.
Mhm.
I think that's part of it. I think I'm
Mhm.
back up
Mhm.
and because I had readings yesterday and I felt much better
Yep.
and then it started to come back again. So I am achy. I am my head is getting to a point where well, my neck is getting to a point where it's giving me shooting pains in my head,
Mm.
like a stabbing dagger coming down
Yeah.
here, which I get normal headed about it, and I think,
Mhm.
oh no, my brain's getting damaged. Oh no, everything's gonna explode. I'm gonna die because I don't know if everyone knows this. My father passed of a brain aneurysm.
Right.
So when things like that happen, I go, oh no, because they're genetic.
Mhm.
Um, but I have felt extra tight this weekend. And actually, I wanted to talk about it because I thought, I wonder if it's just me. I wonder because I believe it's messaging, and I do get it
Mhm.
as messaging. When I went to a school this week, and there was a gentleman there who did the drums and sang our traditional song.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
oh my gosh, all of my pain centers flared up like crazy.
Mhm.
I was sitting there, not in pain, but feeling the energy in those pain sensors. So to me, that
Mhm.
is them telling me, Bobbi, it's not pain. You are
Mhm.
experiencing it as pain because it's something that is foreign. It's something you weren't expecting, and it's sudden and surprising. It's like
Mhm.
I went to move my ring light earlier, and I
Mhm.
stepped on my yoga mat. I said, "Ouch." I stepped on a yoga mat. It did not hurt, but
Right?
my immediate response was, "Ouch." Did you do that? Like, you hit
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
but no
yeah,
one else. But it was a
yeah,
surprise. You responded like it was pain or negative or invasive. So
absolutely.
what I think is going on with me. Now,
Mhm.
I actually put it to everyone or the people out there.
Yeah.
Do you think that that is because I had someone come to me yesterday who I believe to be very, very psychic. And
Mhm.
this person started to experience back pain and went to a
Mhm.
doctor, and now they're on medications.
Right.
And now they're completely confused as to why they can't sense their spirituality and they feel so void.
Mm.
Had to be the one to say, well, you might want to get through and into the pain again.
Yeah.
So, what do you think,
Yeah.
Erin?
Well, I've got a couple of things that I think. So, pain is absolutely one of the ways that spirit can use to get our attention because it really gets our attention. When I teach people about connecting with their intuition, particularly with clairsentience. So, clairsentience is clear feeling. It manifests as emotion and it manifests as sensation in the body. So, when you get the goosebumps because
Mhm.
something feels right, that's clairsentience. That gut feeling in your stomach, that's clairsentience. And pain is clairsentience. And so when I teach it and when I experience it for myself, I always go into the pathways where I have experienced a lot of pain because we are conditioned to look for that. Like
Mhm.
for me, I've been in several car accidents, major car accidents. So I've had whiplash injury and injury all down through my back. Nothing gets my attention faster than
Mhm.
giving me some pain in my neck because I know how bad it can be and it catches my attention. So pain absolutely is one of the ways that they get our attention. And when you're experiencing a lot of pain, you're hypersensitive. So like you're talking about stepping onto your yoga mat and ouch. Like
Yeah.
it could hurt you, right? If you are so triggered to be sensitive and to be in pain. As I said, I've experienced a lot of physical pain in my body, and for a long time, like I remember one incident in particular where I was in so much pain. I went to the hospital and they gave me enough morphine to last me for 6 hours, but I was still in pain. It was significant, it was big, it was bad. And now my threshold and tolerance for pain is actually quite low because there has been so much of it in my body and because I'm really sensitive and aware of what is happening around me. So our tolerance for pain can shift as we become more sensitive too. Does that
And
make sense?
yeah, and I think it strikes a fear.
Yeah.
When you talk about you can get my attention with back pain, you can get
Mhm.
my attention here, and I will stop. Like Saturday,
Mhm.
I couldn't move my hands because if I move
Mhm.
my hands too much, then the pain in my head would start. And
Mhm.
so I think, well, I can't do anything. I
Yeah.
can't wash my dishes. I can't clean my house. I can't even pick my nose, but I can do this.
Right.
So I did this, and I
Mhm.
wrote an awful lot of my book. A
Yeah.
lot. I
Yeah.
probably wrote like 25 pages in 2
Yeah.
days, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot
That's a
because
lot. That is a lot.
yeah, it was them saying, "Bobbi, you never sit down, you never shut up. Sit down, shut up." That's what
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
Also, I had an idea there. Oh, yes, that's it. When we don't know what it's going to be, because
Yeah.
I have given birth 3 times.
Mhm.
That kind of pain is like, any of you give birth, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But you know you're supposed to be in pain. Everyone tells you it's going to be horrifically painful. They tell you. So when it happens, like, okay, I'm ready.
Yep.
And you know you get a prize at the end.
Right.
Because the baby find out the gender and stuff. It's like you're going to go through a lot. You want it like, woo, surprise! Woo!
Yeah. That's when you want the balloons and the confetti.
Yes. Yes. Like, I knew that at the end of this, somebody was going to hand me something that was going to make my life better, like regardless, because each child that came into my life made my life better.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, yeah, bring it. Oh my God, it is. It is true. It is something that is going to bring betterment into my life. Good Lord. Yes.
I love it. I love it when the realizations happen. That's always so exciting.
Right here. Yes. Yes. I go through pain because they're making me more psychic. Or actually, no, they're showing me how psychic I can be.
Or they're showing you that you need to slow down and to do the other parts of purpose as well. That was my thing. Yeah, because when literally the only thing you can do is the other aspects of like your work and your purpose, that's also a pretty big sign too. And so, you know, when we recognize what the message is, okay, so one of my rules, because we haven't talked about rules lately.
Oh, I don't like. I know you love your rules. Okay, go with your rules.
Okay. So, as a clairsentient person who picks up on things and it experiences it in my body, it is important to me as soon as I recognize that I'm receiving a message and I understand what the message is, the symptom has to go away. There is no point in me holding on to pain if I have understood the message. And in a way, if you make it your rule, Bobbi. Say, hey,
right now, I got to make that my rule.
Yeah. See, the rules are good.
Well, they say, okay, fine, we did it all on your neck. Now, here's a lump everyone can see.
Well, so if that's the case, then there's another aspect, or there's another element to the message that you're receiving, right? Okay, so the pain has shifted, the pain has eased, but it's still there. So there's still more message to understand. What else is there that I need to understand? And I think that this is a really cool thing, pain aside, because it's keeping us present in learning and understanding what the heck is going on, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I've got this pain. When I do this thing, it eases. Awesome. And I know that I need to focus on like my work and on my book, but the pain's still there. So what else is the message saying? What else do I need to focus on? Cool. I need to let my husband do the dishes. Awesome. So that I can do an Oracle Chats with Erin. That one may have been a little self-serving, but
my husband does is make me plates like this before I do Oracle Chats with Erin.
I think I need a husband like yours.
A husband like mine. And he's not watching. Well, maybe he's watching, but I'm not saying that just because. People are saying things.
Pardon?
People are saying things. People are.
I know. I've been looking through the comments too. So let's go to the comments. I know we've had some questions come in. We want to get to those too, but let's see, because you had asked a question too. Like, has anybody else experienced pain in this way? So let's take a look. Yeah. So I'm kind of all over the place with where I am. Let me see. Simultaneously. Hard for the human brain to grasp. Yeah, absolutely. Let me see. Soul in multiple places at one time makes sense. Okay, so we're maybe a little bit further down.
Lonnie's mother had 2 brain aneurysms. Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. I used to get really bitter when people would tell me that they had a parenthood, a brain aneurysm, and lived. I used to go, but now I'm like, no. It was, if it wasn't the aneurysm, it would have been something else.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
an expiry date. I used to say that it should be written on your foot, but I think people would walk around on one foot staring at the bottom of their foot their entire life. December 15th, 2010. They would just be
Yeah, right.
you don't need to know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I see here that Jerry's saying that she's having out of body experiences off the charts lately, like communication, and it's communication that she needs to receive. That's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
yes.
interesting how things are there. Yeah,
Oh,
and Carrie's
and that's actually a little bit why I asked if anyone else was experiencing it, because
Mhm,
it can't just be me. I think these things come in waves.
mhm.
So very often when you tell me you're going through something, I'll think, "Oh, I am too a little bit, but mine is blah blah blip blap. Well,
Yep,
yours is blip blip blap because
yep,
it's you and I am
yeah,
me. And we're individuals. We experience
exactly.
it differently. But
And
yeah, I
and
think
one
it.
of the things go ahead.
Oh, that's it.
I'm getting so excited. I just want to make sure I'm not interrupting you. But one of the things that I sometimes notice too is sometimes like everything is hitting me all at once, and I'm just kind of keeping my head above water just barely. And then other people are okay. But then other people will be going through and they're like just keeping themselves above water, and I'm okay. And I think that that happens because if we were all drowning at the same time, we wouldn't be able to save each other. So it's staggered too.
We'd actually bring
Yeah.
each other down.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
when the
exactly.
pandemic hit, there was
Yeah.
actually a very beautiful feeling that happened because
Mhm.
everyone grabbed each other's hands and said, "Oh my gosh."
Like,
And
let's
it
lift up.
wasn't that
Mhm.
sexy? That was groovy. And
Yeah.
then it went
Yeah. Then things shifted again, but there's
back.
the potential to go back to that.
Everyone grab each other's hands and remind yourself what's really real and true and yeah,
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple of comments here. Carrie has said, the pain is here to teach us and to remind us of our human path, releasing the energy that is blocked. Absolutely. I think that that's another one too. Energetically, a lot of shifts of consciousness as a collective. That's very true too. My old injuries have flared and made me realize I need to go inwards and do more healing work internally to release blocks. Yeah, I think that's totally relevant too.
And actually, Amanda, a few comments way before,
Yep.
actually asked if her medication might be blocking her psychic energies.
Hmm.
That's a really, 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 really tough one. I know for myself, and this is
Mhm,
just me and my own about what I can do,
mhm,
I won't even take an Advil
mhm.
before I do readings. I won't take anything because actually, as I'm doing the reading, I don't feel I can go into a reading with like the flu and
Mhm.
be and go to the reading like and
Yep,
then the reading ends, I'm like
yep, yeah, absolutely.
so
I mean,
as
for
but do you think I
mhm,
I I don't take medications because I think they'll block my psychic energy.
mm,
That's true. That's why I go through the pain I do. My doctor wants to put me on painkillers, and I say no.
yeah,
I don't know if it will mess with. I almost said the
mhm.
other one. What I can do it because what I can do is empower me for you. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's like me opening other people's mail. I don't know
yeah, right?
but I guess it is. So, what about do you think that because but that's individual.
That's what I was going to say. I think that this is really individual, and the one that I go to is something like antidepressants or anti-anxiety, and if you aren't functioning and that is something that helps you to function in our world, I think that's really helpful and important.
Mhm.
Part of what those medications can do for people is it can get them over a hump. It can
Yes.
help them to support them, and then maybe there's a time where you aren't on it. Maybe you're always on it. Maybe that's part of what you need to balance yourself in order to have the balance to recognize what's happening.
Well,
That
that's
is such Go ahead.
they said in my head
Yeah.
that what you need to do if you're on medication you cannot go off of, or that it might make things messed up for you if you do,
Yeah.
talk to your spirit guides and say,
Yeah.
okay, we're taking a medication. It's called this. Work
Mhm.
around it, work with it, still talk to me.
Yeah.
Don't allow it to fetter you
Yeah.
because it's the same thing when people ask me, are you going to get vaccinated? And are you worried about what it'll do to you? And I
Mhm.
said, no, of course not.
Mhm.
Because I wouldn't allow it to do something bad to me. Honestly, when things go inside of me that are foreign, I put a little veil of protection around them to make sure they do what they're supposed to do rather than something I wouldn't want them to do. But I don't put that wording into it because that is inviting the thing you don't want.
Yeah. And negativity. Yeah. So, I mean, I do see that there are some medications that can certainly block you because, I mean, some things you go on and your head's fuzzy, like you can't drive, or you can't, they've even got the warnings right on them. Is that going to be something that shifts your consciousness and awareness and means that you're not able to connect? Probably. But I think that you need to, on a personal level, look at the benefits and the disadvantages. And I love your idea of talking to your guides and saying, hey, like, this is what we have. Maybe your communication starts coming through in a different way.
Yeah.
So like if you're primarily a claircognizant person, which means that like thoughts and ideas pop in your head and you have to take something, or you need to take something that's going to cause foggy brain, maybe you're going to be more clairaudient because you're going to get song lyrics instead, because that's how they can get through.
Yeah,
so
or maybe they'll show you something in the distance and then wait, stupid things like that.
Exactly. I mean, I think medication and health is such a personal choice, and it's something that you should talk about with your healthcare practitioner to make sure that you're doing what's the best and right thing for you. And that if you are concerned about being able to connect, that you talk to your helpers and your guides and say, hey, like, this pathway, it's dangerous, or it's shut down, or I'm just not getting through. But like this roundabout route is really open. Like, how can we work with this instead?
I agree completely.
Yeah, I think that was an awesome question.
It was an absolutely awesome question. And because I think that's something we really do need to address.
Yeah.
And it'll be told to me in readings too. And people ask about their medications. I'll be told, no, you should do that.
Yeah.
They're telling me you need that because it's like a diabetic.
Yep.
They are, it's not like diabetics are less or anything like that. They're just, their husk wasn't done cooking or something like that, or they needed to have this physical hurdle or sponge and cushion.
Exactly. And sometimes the health things that we go through lead us to other options or other ways, or bring about other healthy lifestyle adjustments that for whatever reason we weren't doing beforehand. So there are lots of different things that come up around health and well-being that are significant. Yeah. And I have Jenna's comment here. And I'm only sharing it partly because she mentions my name in it.
Good point. So
Jenna says
on the screen.
Yeah. You want me to pull it up? Hold on. There we go. Jenna, you're on our show. So Jenna said, Erin made a really great point yesterday because I was talking with her. Lately, I've been having some sensory things coming up. Like I'm extra sensitive to fabrics, chemicals, loud noises. And she pointed out that it can be linked to clairsentience. And I have been actively working to open up more and tap into and to communicate with spirit. And it really resonated with me. And, that I think is really relevant. Well, obviously I said it, but I think that it's very true. The more sensitive you are, the less you tolerate fabrics or loud noises or discomfort, because it is so much more uncomfortable than it has been in the past. And we see that in our spiritual journey too.
Some are born that way. I know one of my psychic children didn't have metal next to her body. Well, can't like the metal that goes on pants and stuff. I think it might be nickel.
Yeah.
She ended up with massive rashes.
Wow.
It's always been shown to me that a sensitive person is a sensitive person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, that leads me actually to another little thingy, but that's a different topic.
Okay. I know that we've had, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, it's otherworldly. Let me put it that way.
Well,
that possibly we come from other worlds.
Yep.
And we're all just kind of, I don't know, maybe we're the Australia of the universe. I don't mean that against Australia, but the history of Australia.
Yeah.
So England used it as a penal colony.
Yep.
The earth is a penal colony, and all the different more intelligent and higher planets to use it. Like, oh my God, the dregs. Oh. And here we are, trying to figure it out so that we can go back home to where we're from.
The universal soul drugs.
We're actually from some enlightened folks, and we
Yep.
are, I don't want to say the morons. We are the, that used to be a thing. Anyway, if you watch Murdoch Mysteries, you know, moron in a different kind of way. But yeah, okay. Anyway, sorry, I lost my track of thought there, but yeah, because I went off into the la la lands of things. But I go into because those la la lands they're in books.
Yes. But not only that, but it takes us out of our current reality. Like, yes. And I think that there's an openness then to exploring and to new messages and to different experiences. So I think that's an important place to go. I think silliness has a place.
Yes. And you know what? It is because when I first opened up, how I was dumbfounded. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so vast. It's so huge. At first, it terrified me a little bit because we always think that there should be an answer and this should mean this and that means that and this is that way because of that. But it's not that way. Nothing is that way. And that's very confusing. So my feet have been very firmly on the ground. And now new ideas are being presented to me that are outlandish and crazy. And I don't know what to do with those new ideas, but I have to expand my horizons.
Yep. And to explore and experience new things. Absolutely.
Yes. But it's very difficult to find the fine line between the metaphysical and the, hey, you're crazy.
And the physical, right?
And the physical. Okay. And the physical is the, hey, you're crazy. Because.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I get to the idea, is anyone ever crazy?
Yep.
Or are they just unaccepting of the reality in front of them because they actually see another truer reality behind that reality that they cannot marry to this reality?
Absolutely. Okay. I remember, I mean, for me, one of the reasons that rules became really important and relevant, not only is that because that's part of how I function and what works for me, but because if I were connected all the time, I would go crazy because I would lose touch with like the physical reality. And I made a decision very early on that it was important to me to continue to have a physical reality experience while I was here, because that's part of the reason that I'm here. And so for me, there has to be a distinction between the two. Like, I'm connecting, this is spirit, and then this is what's happening on the physical world. And yeah, I do want them to overlap, but there also needs to be that physical world experience.
I used to always have that very much. Like, I don't see anything unless I'm meditating. But now that my children are older, I'm finding it is constant, and it's everything, and it's everywhere, and I hear it, feel it, know it constantly.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that, but at the same time, I have to now work to be grounded. Because that's really easy to feel ungrounded in this world. Because we ground ourselves in things that are outside of us. So incredibly often. Like, when I need to ground, I go and I walk in my plants. I don't walk in the plants because I would.
You walk amongst them.
I do. That's why I don't know if anyone see my garden. I do take a lot of pictures of it. I like to have the plants so that they surround you.
Yeah.
So you can even hide in there, so that you because I'm creating ecosystems, or at least I think I'm creating ecosystems, and I'm trying to, and I can feel that life and that grounding and the reality of everything here when I'm in those plants.
I love it. Yes. Will you create one of the sunflower domes? It just popped into my head as you were talking about it.
Okay, I will do my best to create a sunflower dome for you. In
okay,
fact,
great.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome. So I'm wanting to get to some of our questions.
Looking at that,
I have no idea where we are, but I've got Lorianne here, and Lorianne saying hoarseness of voice over 5 months. Is that my inability to save my peace?
It was for me, but it doesn't mean it is for you. I had one time where I had a whole year where I would get my voice back. I had 2 Rottweilers that were completely and absolutely trained on, because I couldn't speak. So I'd do this. Rottweilers are smart, so you can do that with. But yeah, that's what I found, because somebody even said to me, "Are you saying your truth?"
Yeah.
No, and I did,
And ways to start doing that, because sometimes just going reverse cold turkey, like just jumping right in, can be really difficult. And so if it feels like that's part of what it is, and you're like, yeah, I know that I've got stuff that I'm holding in that I'm not expressing, find other ways to express, like draw or paint or write, or got it. We're on the same page. It's almost like you're psychic, Bobbi.
actually even putting on music. What I will do with my guides is I will hit shuffle and say, what do I need to know? But sometimes they will put on a song, especially a Lizzo song, that I need to move to. Oh, I can't do that. I might need to move my body to and listen to the words of, because of the empowerment within it, or a Pink song. I like empowering female singers.
Yes.
So sometimes that can start to get something, because sometimes we can't tell people what we think, because even though they're being dinks, they don't realize they're being dinks. And if you actually say it to them, you might completely dismantle them. People are being dinks because they're terrified. So if you know yourself well enough to know that if you have a sore throat because you're not speaking your truth, then you know that your truth might hurt. So you need to know how to, and I know Lorianne, and she is a beautiful human being. So she's not going to say anything that's going to break anyone. And which is probably why she's backed up.
Yeah. Filtering. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you asked, because Lorianne, that applies to many of us. So if you've got stuff going on with your throat, or you've got pain here, I mean, I always encourage people, if you've got physical pain, to talk to healthcare, just to make sure that there isn't something more that's going on. But like on an energetic level, definitely that is a pathway to look at.
Yeah, because things can become physical things when they start energetically.
Yeah.
It's in the body. So
Yeah.
Because the lumps are real. You can feel them. Erin got to feel it this week.
Yeah. That was exciting.
It was exciting.
Yeah. And Carrie's kind of confirming that she's been getting messages to come off of one of her meds, that it saved her life, but that it's time to release it, and the time to wean. So that's really cool. And it's so personal.
It is. It's totally and absolutely personal. And I would think too, especially if you're on something like our next young lady is talking about depression, if you're on something for that, you might not have the perspective that you think you might, because you're on it.
Right.
So you might think, oh, I'm better, but you're on it.
Right.
So
Right.
might be entirely better. I honestly think stay on your meds and try to start your enlightenment, and then it will work with your meds as though that's part of your biology. And that if you do not know, you will know. But don't put yourself at risk, because they wouldn't want you to put yourself at risk.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna read Allison's comment here, just so that everybody knows what we're talking about. So Allison's asked, what about depression? I have struggled with that for a long time, and I had to get off medication. She said, I tried different ones, but is there a spiritual purpose for depression? Absolutely. And how do you get out of it if you can't take medication? Yeah, like I feel this is one that I can speak to, because this is one that has been very present in my life for 30 some odd years. I'm in my early 40s. And depression can come from feeling other people's stuff. So often people who are clairsentient struggle with depression. It can definitely be something that helps you to learn more about yourself, like what is mine and what is somebody else's. That's a really significant lesson, especially for people who are clairsentient. Depression on an energetic level can have to do with disconnection in the crown chakra. So taking time to meditate in a method that works for you can be really helpful. And I find that, our current lifestyle in our Western society really promotes a lot of things that expand on depression. And so
Yeah, or
it can,
depressed.
it can be all about getting back to basics. So,
Yeah.
and all of those basics help to support your spiritual journey. So, like
'Cause I
sleep
have
and food. What do you have?
Okay, so
Okay.
we're talking about that, and this is a question.
Okay.
Um, could it also be glandular
Mhm.
in a way
Yeah.
that when you get the message, if
Mhm.
your body is not ready to send the message out, because I actually think the messaging comes through the blood,
Mhm.
could it actually get blocked up and then cause something physical that makes the person feel sad?
Oh, interesting. I've never explored that idea before. I don't know. It hasn't come up for me, but it certainly could. I mean, there are lots of different reasons for depression, right? Like there can be chemical imbalances in the brain.
Hormones.
Yep,
Like,
hormonal.
I had never been so depressed in my well, that's not true. But I remember being 13 and it hitting
Mhm.
me like a ton of flipping bricks, like,
Yep,
"Whoa, what's that?" And
yep.
it was hormonal to me, which is the blood, which is the messaging. Like my blood was saying, "Hey, Bobby, you have more senses now. You know something
Mhm.
more now. You're 13 now. Look at you have little boobies." Things like that. Well, actually, that started at 10. But did with a name like Bobby Booby.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they did. Anywho, but so that's what I wonder. I actually
Mhm.
because I find psychic people get depressed. You
Mhm.
or certain psychic people, like it will hit you like a depression, just like Allison is saying. Because
Yeah.
there's a certain human being in my life
Mhm.
that I
Absolutely.
know is tremendously psychic. And what it does is it makes her cry,
Mhm.
hate herself, and turn it all at herself and things like that. So
Mhm.
I yeah, okay, but yeah, okay,
Yeah.
and mine is a question as another psychic, actually.
Mhm. Okay.
That that's what I was seeing. I
Yeah.
was actually seeing a constriction of blood vessels from
Yeah.
here to here, and then a kaput of it, and a kaput of it here, so there was a strain which made the person think, oh, because they weren't getting everything they needed out of their body.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
We release
Yeah.
serotonin and things like that. So that okay, that's what
Absolutely.
I was asked. That's what I was
Yeah.
wondering.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we also see a lot of people coming back into their psychic awareness and abilities. Like often what will happen, we are born fully and completely psychic. Then we grow up, there are societal pressures, family pressures. That's not really a thing. That's not really real. You're not seeing that. So we shut it down. But
Mhm.
then we're starting to, like, on a hormonal level, we hit our teenage years, things are opening up. There's possibly some rebellion, there's a lot that's happening. We're moving away from our parental pressures. We're understanding and exploring more about ourselves. It is a time when, not only can depression and hormones and all that stuff hit, but also things open up again on a psychic and intuitive and spiritual level.
Different opening too. I found
Mhm.
I've I was born open, so my
Mhm.
childhood was one way, and
Yep.
then my adolescence, it was darker.
Mhm.
So much more dark energy. I attracted so many things that I couldn't and I was dumb.
Well, well, I
Super
mean, when we look at what happens when children are young and all of the shutting down that's done around us, those are also forms of protection, whether they're intended to be that way or not, but they're shutting down. But when you open up as a teenager, not only are you wanting to break out and break free of those restrictions that were protections, but it's like I'm open to trying and experiencing new things, and like I want to explore more. And I think that darker energies can really be around and aware of that and almost take advantage of it too.
Oh, I agree. I agree. So would you say that the answer to Allison's question is meditation?
Mhm.
Pretty much? Could have just said, well, start meditating, get to know yourself better. Next.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, all of those things. Like if you're dealing with depression and medication is not an option for you, because one of the things that she said here is that she has tried different ones. And yeah, sometimes there's just not something that works for you, then
Yeah,
yeah,
and it
getting
might be
back to basics is absolutely the thing to
yeah.
start.
It's always the route that they always tell me to tell people. You can't do anything
Mhm.
until you know who the heck you're talking to.
Yeah.
And you're talking to. And so many we do so much to separate ourselves from ourselves, which sounds
Yeah.
really weird, but we do. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move
Yeah.
we hands to Allison.
Yeah.
Ah, when quality of life for someone is unattainable,
Yeah.
it can be very helpful. Not in every
Yeah.
case. You say, yeah, absolutely. I agree
Absolutely.
completely, Lonnie. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sometimes the medication is like insulin.
Yeah.
You
And
need it.
sometimes or antidepressants or something else that we've talked about. Like it
Oh no,
truly
that's what I
is.
mean. Like the antidepressant is like insulin. It is balance.
Yeah.
It is equal to. Like
Yeah.
they need it to survive here.
Absolutely. And, we are spiritual beings having the physical experience, but part of that is absolutely that we have ways to connect. So, whatever your physical body is needing in order to keep you here, to continue to have these growing physical, spiritual experiences, spirit is going to find a way to get through. We just need to be creative in how we're connecting.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
yeah, and tell them and have the intention and know
Yeah.
because you're okie dokie. Now,
Yes. Let me see. Lori Ann also has commented or not being heard. And this is going back to her initial question about the raspy and the throat and being blocked. And my answer to that is absolutely, because the throat chakra is all about communication, and communication is a two-way street. When you're looking at lack of communication can come both in terms of one person not expressing themselves or the other person and not listening and not hearing. So somebody who's refusing to listen to what you're saying can absolutely block communication, which can block your throat chakra.
okay. Why am I getting more sore?
Is this your body's way of saying you're done?
I don't know what it is. The more you talk, and it could just be that the more you talk about it, the more they're telling me stuff, and
Yep.
I'm feeling it physically and
Yep.
such. So
Give it to me. What have you got?
moving around, just so
Okay.
you're it's just
Okay.
otherwise.
We'll move together. We'll move
Okay,
it
no,
through.
we're gonna make people physically ill.
Yeah. Okay. I'll stay super still so Bobbi can move and be comfortable.
Oh, geez. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. No,
All right.
Jenna asked or added
Yeah.
that is it all right if I click on it?
I think so. You can go
Okay.
ahead. I'm just going to say, Josie, I see your message and I will message you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Knowing I need to make a change, but not making it out of fear. Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Or the
Yeah.
fear that you can't handle what you're going to get to know. I
Yeah.
know that's a big one for me is
Yeah.
the fear
Absolutely.
that I don't. I've actually even Jenna, because I call it downloading in the tub and in the sauna, and I have downloaded in the tub and going like, oh my god, you guys are drowning me. Feels like everything's under the water right now because it's under the water, and it will all start going right into my chest right away, and I go, whoa, holy hell, guys, yeah. Yeah, sorry. That's what I have to say.
It's so funny because I think about the way that I receive messages for myself, and I'm almost starting to feel like I'm missing out, but I'm grateful because
No,
for me, like the showers and driving, if I'm on a long drive by myself, those are really
Mhm.
big ways, and other ways too, but those are my really big ways. And for me, it's like a little brainstorm going on in my head because clear cognizance is one of my big ways that I receive messages, and so it's
Yeah.
like boom, 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 and like realizations, and it's not nearly as physically painful.
I get realizations. I get the, oh my god.
Yeah.
That? Yes. Yes. How did I not know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so obvious. Jeez Lou. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will never tell them not to do this to me. And I think I asked them to do it physically so that I would know what's
Yeah.
otherwise I would just think I'm brilliant.
Yeah. And now we've come to the understanding of Erin's arrogance.
brilliant.
Oh my goodness.
Uh,
Awesome.
Paul has an interesting question.
Okay, I don't know where you are, so you go for it.
And I would assume that Paul is British because he used
Okay.
the term rubbish.
I love it.
Yeah, rubbish outside my workshop. Yeah, because a Canadian would say garbage.
Yes, yes,
I
yes. I love it.
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
okie dokie. Now, from a house move from 1990 that left at my recently passed father's friends forgotten about all years turned up in a rubbish tip outside of my workshop. Oh, I get it now. Okie dokie. I get stuff like this all the time.
Okay, can you
But
I'm just not following. I'm not exactly sure if it's
I
anyway.
know he typed it really quickly, but I actually think, and
Yeah.
hopefully, Paul, this, it's Scotland. Boy, I apologize for trying to sound Scottish. It just happened. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I think, okay, my dad does stuff like this too, where I will
Okay.
suddenly get something. It's like, where the heck did this come from? I know this thing. I remember it, blah, 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 blah. And it shouldn't, it's physical. So it shouldn't
Right.
be suddenly there. My dad is actually with my dad, he's taken stuff away, probably more than he's given back. But
Sorry.
I
I just have to laugh at that.
I don't, because I get attached to things.
Mhm.
I get attached to physical world stuff. And I was brought up that way. I think it's as much nurture as it is nature, but it's more nurture.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I had my dad's hat, and some friends helped me move, and a friend put a box on my dad's hat. And it was like a fedora kind of hat. It's a hat
Yep,
that he's shaped. I was
yep.
so upset. I went to work. I was so upset. Came home. The hat was sitting on my kitchen table, fully formed properly. And I
Wow.
just, holy, because it was like the third thing he had done. My dad has done physical world things. He moved a tape once, and I know that sounds funny, but he moved a cassette tape. I had sold it to someone, went, damn, I shouldn't have sold that, got home, and it was on my coffee table.
Wow.
And they're like, these are things that I was like, no freaking way. That's not possible. How is that possible? But it is possible because that hat doesn't actually exist. It only
Mm.
exists because I believe it exists, because it's a grouping of molecules that have gotten so close together that it's become a physical thing that if I went, I'd feel it.
Mhm.
So my father can manipulate those molecules to make the hat back into what I believe it should look like.
Mhm.
Sense? So
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
what Paul is experiencing, I hope I'm right a little
Yes.
bit, and because I find it cryptic as well. So
Yes. Well, I'm really glad that you clarified that because when I read possession, I wasn't thinking of like
oh,
an object. I was thinking like being demonically possessed. So that actually really helps me to understand the the
yeah.
the
That's why I
the
clicked on it
statement.
actually, because I thought it was demonic possession too, and I was excited.
Okay.
But I love this as well, because this shows actually how, and the absent thing, the way that it was kind of slid in, shows Paul's relationship with his father, and how his father did not feel like he'd go, "Hey, son, I'm here and I'm okay." He had to
Right.
go in. Remember me? I used to actually be a pretty good guy at one time.
Right. And also helping to open that door. So
Yeah.
understanding and
So Paul really got
recognizing,
the idea. Yes, you're
yeah,
right.
it's
Excellent.
kind of
Yeah.
like an introductory call. And I kind of see it as
Yeah.
like the at the balls, how everybody was announced when they came in. This is the announcement that he's ready to come in.
I just
Love
watched
it.
Cinderella,
Oh,
so
did you?
I did today. And yeah, sorry. I just watched the cartoon, the Disney one.
Awesome.
I like, yeah. Okay, okay.
So I have Ruth here, and Ruth is
Sorry,
saying,
Carrie saying anyway, okie dokie now because of me.
Ruth is saying, I don't understand why I'm so tired and drained. And the first thing that popped up for me is boundaries. That and we're not doing specific readings today, so I'm going to address this in just like the message that's coming up as I read it. And boundaries are really important, particularly as we become more and more sensitive and aware. Boundaries on like our time, our energy. We have lots of different resources that we give and we share, including like our thinking power and energy that we put out to things. And part of what I'm hearing is the need to have boundaries around like the resources of your energy and your time, and potentially recognizing that we don't have the same resources that we have had in the past. Like I think about the aging process that I've been going through. I don't have the energy that I had 20 years ago, but I have more wisdom and understanding than I had. So sometimes it's just a recategorizing of what we have. And because that's being recategorized, we need to adjust the boundaries that we have around how we use and share it.
Oh, okay. I
Does
like
that make
that.
sense?
It does. And because I immediately started seeing her pelvis. And then when you
Mm.
put boundaries, I was like, uh-oh, what am I? But then I started seeing it go all the way around her pelvis.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh,
it might actually be her family that is pushing against the boundaries.
and when people develop their clairsentience more, so again, we've talked a little bit about this today. Clairsentience is receiving messages through feeling and through emotion. There are actually two chakras that are connected to clairsentience, because there are two aspects that are addressed: the heart chakra and the solar plexus chakra, which is just above the belly button. Yeah, kind of like this. and
Pushes up
and
into that's like a panic attack.
Sorry.
It's feeling like you do not have power. So it pushes up into the heart chakra, ignites the heart chakra, and the heart chakra goes, "What happened?" And right, I interrupted you. I was showing the.
Yes, thank you, Vanna. Great, awesome. So the other thing that can happen is from a physical, like a sensing point of view, if we don't have effective boundaries. So again, for people developing clairsentience, if we're picking up and holding on to a lot of other people's stuff, not getting rid of it, not recognizing that it's ours, and we just hold on to it, our bodies will start to put fat on over top of the chakra in order to protect it. And so when you talk about pelvis, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely, we're in that area. So
Yeah, the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh that women
yeah,
get. Yeah,
yeah.
that I gotta take care of everyone crap. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, with Ruth, I just see red all around that spot. So it could even be that those are the emotional things, and it's becoming a physical thing, and it's draining her.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really tired, because this makes me so tired, because my body is trying to function normal and
Mm-hmm.
trying to combat something that's going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So I will actually get out of breath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that constricts on that too. Yeah. Bobbi, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm finding my energy's kind of dropping. How are you doing? How's your
Yes,
pain?
and I am, yes, yeah. I'm physically discomfortable, which isn't a word. So
It
yeah.
is now. It is now.
I have been talking about having an English degree, because I have an English degree a lot lately. So that might be why I'm making up words, because my brain's getting ahead of my mouth and saying, "Hey, we think we're smart," and
Mm-hmm. And it's giving validity.
it's giving validity to that. Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, okie dokie. And okay, are you tired? Do you want to?
I'm feeling like I'm getting close. How are you doing?
Do you want to answer two more questions and then we
Yeah,
go
if
home?
you've got them, yeah, let's hear them. My comment section has been bopping all over the place. I don't even know where I am anymore, so I'm going to leave it to you to bring forward the questions.
Okie dokie. Okay. I have two in front of me.
Okay, great. Let's do them.
One is from Nancy. Here,
Okay.
I'll just show it to you so you can read
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to read it out loud because that helps. So for 29 years, I've had eagles and eagle feathers come to me when I need confirmation or clarification from my guides. Absolutely. 29 years ago, my first husband died. I'm so sorry, Nancy. And that's when it began. Is he one of my guides, or reminding me that he still walks alongside me? My daughter, who was 2 when he died, has found so many feathers in recent months. Her 3 children are the ages her and her 2 brothers were at the time of his passing, since she's been finding them. Is this linked? Wow, that's a really awesome question. I'll
Yeah,
let
it's
you.
a question. And yes, yes. I actually think too that your daughter needs to pay attention to something having to do with her genetic link to her dad. And that would have
Mm.
probably crossed over if it was natural causes, but they're showing me, and it could, I think it's actually what they're showing me is my father passed away just before his 41st birthday. So just before my 41st birthday, I was freaked out because I thought, oh my gosh, what if my head explodes? And that I think might be running through your daughter, or she might be looking at her
Mm.
babies and going, they are exactly the age I was when I was
Mm.
half orphaned. And I call it half orphaned.
Mhm.
A big thing. It's a humongous thing to lose a parent. It
Yeah.
really messes with your brain because you think it should,
Yeah.
actually. Because you think it should, because most likely your daughter was given a replacement papa that filled the void. But the fact that she didn't have the other one might be the
Mhm.
thing, because they're showing. And I think one of your grandsons might actually be saying stuff that your husband would say, might actually be
Mm.
with you guys from him. And yeah, he's the eagle. No, he's not one of your
Mhm.
guides, but he is protecting and walking with you. And I'm reading her, loves you still. Sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, what
Yeah.
about you?
My brain is so mushy, but yeah, I would definitely agree with what you've said. I mean, for me, guides are not our loved ones who have crossed over. Like, they're still around us, they're with us, but they still have learning that they're doing. Like, they're still continuing to live. They're just in a different dimension, in a different place and a state, and so they don't have the resources to be our guides, but they're with us. They, are still wanting to have that relationship and connection. And for me, that's a really big difference between our loved ones who have crossed over and guides. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
yeah, absolutely. As far as I know and told, our guides
Yeah.
become our guides before we were even born. That we
Mhm.
knew them and we made a pact with them and we talked about what we were going to do. And they
Yeah.
expect you to remember. And they stand around you going, Erin, do you not remember? And Erin goes,
You
what?
signed up for this.
Oh my God, that bugs me. And the guy goes,
Mhm.
I had a client yesterday going, the ringing. I said,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. This was like, and you can't get rid of it. Terrible
Yeah.
spot. Okie
Awesome.
dokie.
What else do you have next? Or who else?
Amber.
Oh, yes.
More than experience. Yes, absolutely, Amber. You create the energy. Oh,
Yeah.
creating energy.
The best way that I have of describing this is when you're starting to see signs. It's basically like the universe going, like, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Is this thing on? And if 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 you're sitting there in the audience and you can hear it and you're like, I can't hear anything, then they're like, okay, well, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? And
I,
then instead of being able to get on with whatever was going to happen, it's like, okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? So yeah, the more that you recognize, and the more that you recognize, 1, that you're receiving a message, 2, you understand what it is, and then 3, you take action on it, the more that they come through.
yeah, yeah. I see it like charades.
Yeah.
Play charades with someone. They go first word, and then they go
Yeah.
second word. And as you get it, they get more excited, and they show you more. And they're showing
Hmm.
you something that you might understand that they're trying to say without them
Hmm.
saying it. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, because it
I
becomes
think
it becomes
class
easier.
say it. Why, if they're so dang powerful, can't they just go, "Hey, Bobbi"? Like, why can't they do that? Why do they have to screw my crown up my root chakra, up my back, and
So they do. They do.
why?
When
You and I talk to one another.
when it is life and death and you have to understand, right?
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
if
But they'll even show you a picture. Now, move out of the way, stupid. They will
well,
just
I mean, for me, they have.
oh,
Sorry.
they show a picture of something being crushed to my left, so I go, whoa. I don't get crushed. Or, but yeah. Oh, I just heard I'm a slow learner in my head. So, yeah, slow learner.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have had experiences where it was very clear, right to the point, and there was no way that I could mistake it because it was something that was literally life or death. It was stopping me, preventing me from being hit by a bus. Like it was big. So they can come through that way. But is that how most of the messaging comes through? No, it's much different.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really life or death. And I got pulled out of a car accident once
yeah.
in the same sort of way. I watched it happen. And then
Yeah.
I was quite confused.
So so yeah, it all depends on the circumstances. Are if you're about to forget your shopping list at home, are they going to like pull out all the stops? Probably not, because it's not life or death.
No, unless there's a medicine you're supposed to get on that shopping list, but then
Then
they'll keep
maybe.
yeah, putting
Yeah.
things in front of you so you go, "Oh, shit, the medicine." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's an awesome question, Amber. Thank you. I'm so glad that you asked.
Yeah, excellent addition. Thank you, Amber.
Absolutely.
Everybody's
Absolutely.
been an excellent addition today.
Yes, and we ended up talking a lot more about stuff and taking fewer questions today. So my apologies if we either unintentionally skipped over your question or we didn't get to your question or your comment today. Um, but we are super grateful that you joined us.
We are. We're super
Yeah,
duper grateful that you
yeah.
joined us.
We
And
have Mhm.
we're accessible beyond this. If you miss and you can't come on the live feeds or you miss a live
Mhm.
feed or something like that, but you want a question answered, these live feeds are on our Facebook, on our YouTube, am I missing something?
Our website, we have it on our website, universalconnections.ca.
Weird destination. I couldn't remember what the heck it was. So you can always look up these and message us and say, "Hey, I've asked you a question. Could you please click on it and answer it?" And yes, we will, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, and Bobbi, as we're talking about that and saying that, I think probably what we should do, we'll talk about it after, but I think what we should do is we should probably have a post on our pages saying, hey, you have a question about this week, drop it here if you're not going to be able to make it, because I mean we did that with Carrie's question from last week, and yeah, so we will do our best to answer as many questions as we possibly can.
Okay.
I see you seeing another question and I so want to go there, but my body is saying no.
Okay. We'll be back.
We'll be back next week. And we might have a guest next week. We might not, but we will definitely give you the heads up as soon as we figure that out. Is that
Yeah,
how we should leave it?
that's how we shall leave it. Yes, because we
Okay.
want to start having guests on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know
Yeah.
everything. It's really
Just
close.
some things. Just some things. Awesome. Shall we do our namaste?
Wow. Namaste.
Namaste. It's you. You're there.
Stay down longer.
I know. We'll get better.
It's not moving as quickly as usual right now.
That's okay. Good night, everyone. We'll see you
Good night,
on
everyone.
Sunday. Have a great week.
Bye.